I am continuing my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around a bit as I move along. I have recently read the first few chapters in 2 Samuel, as well as several chapters in 1 Chronicles, which tell a parallel story. In Samuel, we are up to the conquest of the Philistines and the taking of the city of Jerusalem. And in Chronicles, we have gotten up to the point of beginning to bring the ark to Jerusalem and the death of Uzzah for trying to steady the ark. So here we are in 2 Samuel, chapter 6. It says here, David takes the ark to the city of David. Uzzah smitten and dies for steadying the ark. David dances before the Lord, causing a breach between him and Michal. So you'll note here, this is the same story as was told in 1 Chronicles chapter 13 with the death of Uzzah. Now this continues beyond that. This gives us a little bit more. And the rest of this story is touched on in chapter 15 of 1 Chronicles. So we see how the two books run a parallel narrative. But let us read this. Chapter 6, verse 1. Again, David gathered together all the chosen men of Israel, 30,000. And David arose and went with all the people that were with him from Baal of Judah to bring up from thence the ark of God, whose name is called by the name of the Lord of hosts, that dwelleth between the cherubims. And they set the ark of God upon a new cart, and brought it out of the house of Abinadab that was in Gibeah. And Uzzah and Ahio, the sons of Abinadab, drave the new cart. And they brought it out of the house of Abinadab, which was at Gibeah, accompanying the ark of God. And Ahio went before the ark. So, in other words, Ahio and Uzzah, so apparently Abinadab is the priest that was keeping the ark. And these are his two sons. Ahio is in the front, and Uzzah is in the back. That'll be somewhat important in a moment. But in Chronicles it says they gathered it out of Kirjath-jearim, and here it says they got it out of Gibeah. Now Gibeah is in Benjamin, but Kirjath-jearim is in Judah. So there's a little discrepancy there. I'm not sure, maybe Gibeah is a town in the area of Kirjath-jearim, but I don't know. Let's just continue here. Verse 5. And David and all the house of Israel played before the Lord on all manner of instruments made of fir wood, even on harps. And excuse me, the wind just caught me. Even on harps, and on psalteries, and on timbrels, and on cornets, and on cymbals. And when they came to Nachon's threshing floor, Uzzah put forth his hand to the ark of God, and took hold of it, for the oxen shook it. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Uzzah, and God smote him there for his error, and there he died by the ark of God. And David was displeased because the Lord had made a breach upon Uzzah, and he called the name of the place Perez Uzzah to this day. And David was afraid of the Lord that day, and said, How shall the ark of the Lord come to me? So David would not remove the ark of the Lord unto him into the city of David, but David carried it aside into the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite. And the ark of the Lord continued in the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite 3 months, and the Lord blessed Obed-Edom and all his household. Now it says here that Obed-Edom is a Gittite, and that would mean he is a man of Gath, so he's not even a Israelite. Now I'm just checking here in 1 Chronicles. Yeah, he's called a Gittite there too. So this seems to indicate that he was not a native Israelite. But anyways, David is scared because of the death of Uzzah. Now remember, Ahio was in front and Uzzah is in the back. So when the cart stumbles and the ox kind of stumble, the ark wobbles. It's Uzzah who sees it because he's in the back. He can see what's going on. And he reaches out to steady it. But also remember, as I said in my video on 1 Chronicles chapter 13, that only the high priest is allowed to touch the ark directly. And then only on specific days and only after specific rituals have been completed. So Uzzah touching the ark is a violation of one of the most sacred commandments that God has given Israel. That is why he is killed. So, but let us continue this story now. We have verse 12. And it was told King David, saying, The Lord hath blessed the house of Obed-Edom, and all that pertaineth unto him, because of the ark of God. So David went and brought up the ark of God from the house of Obed-Edom into the city of David with gladness. And it was so that when they that bare the ark of the Lord had gone 6 paces, he sacrificed oxen and fatlings. And David danced before the Lord with all his might, and David was girded with a linen ephod. So David and all the house of Israel brought up the ark of the Lord with shouting and with the sound of the trumpet. And as the ark of the Lord came into the city of David, Michal, Saul's daughter, looked through a window and saw King David leaping and dancing before the Lord, and she despised him in her heart. So, I find this very interesting. David gets a little worried. Uzzah was just killed. Let's not take this to the city of David. We don't want to risk it. So they give it to Obed-Edom. And for 3 months, Obed-Edom has it great. God blesses him. So David says, wait a minute. Maybe I was wrong. God's blessing him. Maybe I guess if I brought it here, it'd be okay too. And so he goes and gets it. So it's just a little odd thing there. Now, I do think he was right to bring it to Jerusalem because it needed to be in a central location for all Israel to centralize the worship of Israel. So I think he was right, but I just find it kind of funny that he gets scared at the death of Uzzah, but then when he sees the prosperity of Obed-Edom, he's, oh, give me that. It gives a slightly poor impression. Now, I don't think he grabbed it because it was giving Obed-Edom prosperity, but because he realized that it wasn't cursing him. He realized that God was blessing those who actually respected the ark. But, anyways, now we have the story of his first wife, Michal, the daughter of Saul. Now David, he is out there with the people. He is singing and dancing, and he is making a fool of himself in some ways, in his praise of the Lord, in his glorying in the ark being brought in. He is down with the people, but he is the king. He is the commander of the armies. Michal, now, she is referred to here as Saul's daughter, not as David's wife. Matter of fact, I don't know if she's referred to as David's wife since he fled from Saul, but she's described as Saul's daughter because she is showing the pride and arrogance of Saul here. She is upset that David is not acting more kingly, more royal. He is down with the people instead of up in his elevated position where he's supposed to be. And this shows us that Michal fell in love with David because she was in love with the hero. He had just killed Goliath. He was the champion of Israel. That's what she loved. But when he humbles himself before God, she gets angry. Because to her, he's king. He should not be humbling himself in this way. Let us finish this chapter out. Verse 17. And they brought in the ark of the Lord and set it in his place in the midst of the tabernacle that David had pitched for it. And David offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before the Lord. And as soon as David had made an end of offering burnt offerings and peace offerings, he blessed the people in the name of the Lord of hosts. And he dealt among all the people, even among the whole multitude of Israel, as well to the women as the men. To everyone a cake of bread and a good piece of flesh and a flagon of wine. So all the people departed, every one to his house. Then David returned to bless his household. And Michal, the daughter of Saul, came out to meet David and said, How glorious was the king of Israel today, who uncovered himself today in the eyes of the handmaids of his servants, as one of the vain fellows shamelessly uncovereth himself. And David said unto Michal, It was before the Lord, which chose me before thy father, and before all his house, to appoint me ruler over the people of the Lord, over Israel. Therefore will I play before the Lord. And I will yet be more vile than thus, and will be base in mine own sight. And of the maidservants which thou hast spoken, of them shall I be had in honor. Therefore Michal, the daughter of Saul, had no child unto the day of her death. So we see again, as I was saying, well, like David, he gives everybody an equal portion. Loaf of bread, flagon of wine, and what was the other one? And a good piece of flesh. So meat, bread, and wine. He gives everybody a portion. Not just the men, but it very specifically states that he gave it to the women too. Everybody was equal at this celebration. They brought the ark of the Lord to Jerusalem, to a final resting place where it could stay. This was a time of celebration for all of Israel, not just the men. It was everybody. But Michal, she comes in mocking David. Oh, look at that. You're making yourself a fool among all the people, all those lowly servants. And David says, look, God chose me. I am his servant, and I will abase myself before God. And those servants that you hold in such derision, they honor me for it. I am the king. And they honor the king for humbling himself before God. Saul never did this. Saul did not humble himself before God, and there were many discontented people under his reign. But at least at this moment, the people love David, and they love him because he humbles himself before the Lord. But we'll see you in the next one.